Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. I have a couple of issues to speak with you about. The one that we called you about, and we'll talk about that first, but we had a double traffic fatality, and some of you asked about that, so we'll present that information later. With me today is Acting Chief Walker from the Bartow Police Department. Their agency received information from men and women of the police department of inappropriate conduct by a police officer. I can tell you Acting Chief Walker is a professional in every sense of the word, and so were the people that came to him and his supervisors saying, hey, this just doesn't look right. They began looking into the event, and it appeared to them that this event happened outside the city of Bartow, so they did not have investigative jurisdiction. So they notified the sheriff's office. We work with the Bartow Police Department every day, and we're willing to work with them. What we determined is a Bartow police officer had created a relationship with 4 teenagers. They were white females. 2 of them were 18, 1 of them was 17, and 1 of them was 16. And during this relationship, we found out that 3 of our victims went to Kathleen High School, 1 went to Auburndale High School. And he took them to his house in Lake Wells. And here's the police officer, Mark Anthony Fernandez. He's 24 years of age. He started his career at the Bartow Police Department, came to the sheriff's office for a short period of time, returned to the Bartow Police Department. And this investigation unfolded. Our detectives learned that he had a video clip that he was sharing, Snapchat video, with people at the police department, and they looked at it and say, hey, these girls look underage. Hey, one of these girls that was 18 was wearing a Bartow police jacket. Well, he was not only videoing these girls in different stages of undress at his apartment, but he was directing one of the juveniles to perform a sex act on the 18-year-old. And she did. And it was recorded, and he shared it with police officers in Bartow. Then, as other videos came to light during our investigations, we had to find out who all the ladies were. We found that there was other incriminating evidence. He was providing them at this party he had at his house, and he picked them up and took them there. Marijuana gummies. That's right. Oh, you remember those marijuana gummies that are only supposed to be for medicinal purposes for people that are very sick? This police officer was providing them to a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, and 2 18-year-olds. Oh, did I tell you he was providing alcohol to them? So they were partying down, taking videos of them vaping cannabis, eating THC gummies, and drinking alcohol, all of which is is illegal under the age of 21. In addition to that, he told one of the 18-year-olds and the 17-year-olds that he gets excited sexually from choking people. So he choked the 18-year-old unconscious. Did you hear what I said? He choked the 18-year-old unconscious. She said that she allowed him to choke her. But he also choked the 17-year-old, and she said, I did not allow him to choke me, and he choked me so much that it scared me. So now we've got him having illicit sexual conduct with 2 children for his personal sexual gratification. He does that after he provides them THC gummies, a alcohol, and then he has this recorded on his device and he's sharing it. So he's got a litany of criminal charges coming his way. And then, of course, there's child-related victim crimes. So you can see the long list of criminal charges. He's currently in the county jail. He's refused to resign. So I will let Acting Chief Walker talk to you about what they are doing and their piece of this. But I compliment the chief and his staff for doing the right thing. They immediately began an investigation when they heard of it, and they ultimately turned it over to us when their investigation showed that it occurred outside the city limits of Bartow. Chief?
Thank you. Officer Fernandez was hired by the Bartow Police Department on 12/16/22 for the second time. As the sheriff said, we received information from one of our civilian employees that she had received a video. She had the ability to record the video from Snapchat and provide it to us. We had concerns about the content of the video. We attempted to identify the people in the video unsuccessfully. And that's when we got more information, heard that one of them might be as young as 15, might have gone to school in the Bartow area, so we tried to follow up on that unsuccessfully. Nobody could identify her. On an unrelated trip to Officer Fernandez's house, we recognized the background as the background in the video. From that, because it was in Lake Wales, we reached out to the Sheriff's Office for assistance, and then their investigation has found what it has found. He is on paid administrative leave right now, pending a pre-disciplinary hearing that's scheduled for Monday.
You said he was hired again in December 2022?
Yeah, he worked for us prior. He worked for Bartow from September 21st, 2020 till October 22 of 21, and then went to the Sheriff's Office. He worked for the Sheriff's Office from October 25 of 21 to December of 22, and then came back to work for us.
Knowing that he worked for both of your agencies, I don't know if both of you want to speak or one would rather, just knowing that you entrust your officers, deputies, to protect the community, especially children or, young teens and adults in this case, how does it feel to have to respond to a situation like this with one of your own?
It's very disappointing. We do very in-depth background checks. They go through psychological screening just to try to make sure we're picking the right candidates. But obviously, nothing's perfect, and people change, and it's very disappointing to see this happen. We all wear this patch and this badge as, it's a sign of public trust, and it's unfortunate when somebody violates that and puts that into question for the community. We really don't want that, and that's why we do a good job of policing our own. We try to hold them very accountable.
What was happening on Monday? I'm sorry, Chief. You said Monday was a hearing?
A pre-disciplinary hearing, yes, sir.
Pre-disciplinary hearing. What does that mean? What does that entail?
It's a right for him to be heard, due process, to hear what he has to say prior to any discipline being rendered. Under Florida State Statute 112, the Police Officer Bill of Rights, he has some rights to that, and so we have to follow through with that.
Will it at that point be determined whether he'll remain on leave or be terminated?
Correct.
If the option is, if the decision is to terminate him, will he be paid from the paid administrative leave, or will that be?
I'm sorry?
He's on paid administrative leave since February. If the decision is made to terminate him, does he owe that back, or is that kept to him?
No, it stays with him.
Sheriff, how did he meet these girls?
He met them online through social media, and he created a relationship with one of them, and they introduced another, and then they introduced another. They were all friends. And there was another event where they apparently went to a party in Frostproof. So we know of two events. We are still investigating the Frostproof party, but we know that he brought them specifically to his house in Lake Wales to give them mind-altering drugs, and then to engage them in different sexual behavior. And in addition to that, they were in some state of undress, some totally, some partially, as it's described to me. But quite frankly, you ask, how does it make us feel? It makes me elated to arrest him and put him in jail. This guy is a bad guy. He fooled his way into the system, and then he acted like a fool, and he got arrested. And I'm happy about that. And he was stupid enough to do it. Then he was really stupid to video it. Then he was really stupid to show it to his colleagues at work who said, time out. They're professionals. So you play stupid, stupid, stupid games, you win stupid, stupid, stupid prizes, okay? And right now, he's locked up in the county jail, so his predis can be why he's in jail. That is a protocol that the police department's required to go through that's provided. That's why he's not terminated today. But you can rest assured that the Bartow Police Department, once they complete their due process, and if their due process shows what our criminal investigation showed, that if he doesn't resign, he will be terminated. And in any event, all of this is going to be reported to the FDLE system that's in place to oversee all law enforcement officers in the state of Florida. This is a bad guy. He's a deviant. And he's there with children. I mean, did you hear what I said? A 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, two 18-year-olds, and he's being stupid and crazy and out of control? Well, right now we have him in control in the jail.
Have you spoken to the girls' parents? If so, were their reactions?
The investigation's underway, and those kind of conversations we don't share publicly.
Do you think there could be more young women or teens that potentially had some sort of interaction with him?
We have no investigative information at this time, but if there are other young ladies, teenagers, that may have had an inappropriate interaction with him, we absolutely, totally want to know about it, because there was nothing warmed my heart more than to add more criminal charges to him.
And they were all high school students, correct? Or
They either were attending high school or had attended high school. Some of them had dropped out. The three of them went to Kathleen High School. One of them attended Auburndale High School, but as I understand, some of them had dropped out, but that was their last school of attendance.
Do you know about how long he knew them for?
No, it obviously, that is part of the investigation, but it started out with him chatting with one online. I think Snapchat's how they began.
when did that begin?
It was, do you know, Chief, it actually started before we were into it.
I do not know the information on that.
No.
And Chief, did you say that the first video discovered was sent on Snapchat to a civilian member of the department?
One of our crime scene techs, a female.
Did he say anything? Has he said anything at all?
He said he needed a lawyer. We agreed with him. He needs a real good one, because, you know, the lawyer can watch and wave goodbye as we load him up, send him to prison one day, because that's our goal if he's convicted.
Chuck, you said that you didn't think that they were necessarily different victims, but you did mention the second incident in Frostproof. Do you believe that the same girls were there for that?
We know they supposedly went to a party in Frostproof, so we're seeking any information there, and we will certainly be willing to make the appropriate charges if we can develop the evidence from that party. So, yes, we'd like to know about that as well.
Sheriff, one last, and maybe you mentioned this, there's a line in this news release about him going into a bedroom at his residence where the 16-year-old was, and began to touch her and choke her.
Yes, I mentioned that when he choked her, and he admitted that he got sexual gratification by choking people. He choked the 18-year-old unconscious, and he obtained sexual gratification from that. And he also choked the other child who was still a juvenile, under the age of 18. And yes, he inappropriately touched them. So.
Were there any other disciplinary actions or anything that was out of the ordinary with him before this came up?
I can tell you he was involved in a officer-involved shooting that was totally legitimate. A man had robbed a place with a firearm in Highland City, and we were in pursuit of the guy when Bartow Police was called to assist us in that investigation, and they located him, and the guy pulled a gun on them, and he and his partner shot and ultimately killed the guy who had just committed the robbery with a firearm. But as far as disciplinary action, I'm not sure of any disciplinary action at this time, but obviously that will be part of the follow-up investigation, and y'all may find an interest in that to see if there has been other disciplinary action. But obviously, if there was disciplinary action that had anything to do with children, kids, drinking, that we would have that today. But it's unbelievable. You give polygraphs, you give psychologicals, you do background investigations, and still every now and then someone slips through the system. And what's important to point out, there's no other industry that gives polygraphs and psychological but law enforcement. So when you see that he got through the system, yeah, he did with this craziness that he did. But when you go to your doctor, to your dentist, put your kids in school, with other jobs of trust, your pharmacist, they don't stand up to psychologicals and polygraphs. So you just don't know what you don't know. But what we know about this guy, he's a bad guy. He's a sexual deviant. And he wanted to focus on young girls. And we have locked him up in jail where he needs to be. Okay? This is a horrible event. Happened at 8 o'clock this morning on Highway 37 at the Fort Greene Mine Road, which is south of Mulberry, way out in the countryside. There was a box truck that was southbound on Highway 37, and there was a semi-truck that was northbound on Highway 37. The box truck failed to see a line of vehicles that had stopped so a vehicle could turn off of Highway 37. So he immediately tried to brake and swerved to avoid hitting the rear end of these vehicles. When the man in the box truck swerved into the northbound lane, he hit a semi-truck head on. And as you can tell from this, there was total demolition, totally wrecked. And there was fire. So these vehicles were both just absolutely annihilated through this head-on crash, and both of the drivers, there were only two drivers, only two people involved in the crash. There were no passengers. Both of them died immediately at the scene from this horrible crash. And we're in the process now of wrapping up the investigation, which obviously started upon our arrival after 8 a.m. this morning. But this was two guys just working. One made a mistake, and it cost two people their lives. Okay?
What was in the box truck?
We don't know what was in the box truck, but there was fire and entrapment. It was a horribly terrible crash. They're all terrible when it involves a fatality, but totally demolished. Totally demolished. Okay? Thank you very much. Y'all have